Good Friday, everyone. Welcome to Garden State Weather Premium Video Forecast Discussions for the tri-state area and for the nation as well. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith on this Friday, the 21st of October, 2022. Taking a look at temperatures this morning, they're rebounding from some frosty nights that we've had over the last couple of days and some very windy afternoons as well. Finally getting ahead and feeling slightly better day by day. This week I was pretty much out of it. Probably some kind of upper respiratory virus or whatever that's going around. We'll take a look at that information in just a moment. Right now at the Weather Center, it is 51 and sunny. It's also 51 in New Brunswick at the Rutgers University Meteorology Program, where the winds are west-southwest at about 4 miles per hour. And temperatures this morning running around 59 in Fortescue, upper 50s here in Point Pleasant, Little Lake Harbor, Cape May, and Egg Harbor Township. 41 in Walpack, a little chilly there still, but warming up under sunny skies. We'll take a look at the satellite imagery in just a moment. Rest of the temperatures around the region this morning are in the mid-40s to low and mid-50s. And the minimums this morning, we did have some frosty mornings again near Sandyston, but the growing season is ended there. It's also ended in Walpack at 25. Their temperatures around 31 in Charlottesburg, 27 in Pequest, and 29 in Hackettstown, 26 at Stewartsville. Right along the coast, temperatures were in the upper 30s in Ocean and Monmouth County, and also Cape May County here, and a few upper 50s, 51 in Atlantic City Marina this morning for a minimum. There's not much of a wind chill out there now as a result of the sunshine and very calm conditions. In fact, the wind speeds right now are very calm, and the wind gusts are pretty calm too. Predominantly less than just a couple of miles per hour. Latest visible satellite imagery shows nothing but clear skies, some cirrus altocumulus clouds here out over the ocean, and some cirrus clouds here across the lakes, down the Finger Lakes here in New York State, but everybody else under high pressure is completely clear, and the water vapor channel shows basically the same thing. Take a look at some national temperatures this morning. They're ranging anywhere from the upper 30s into the 40s and 50s here across the upper Midwest and South, in the upper 40s and 50s here across the Mid-Atlantic and the Appalachian Mountain chain here, and all the way down into the Virginias and the Carolinas and Tennessee, and bottoming out in the low to the mid and upper 60s here in Florida. Where it is looking quite nice. Wind chills this morning. They're chilly across the Cascades here, down into the Rockies, but warming here across the mountains here in the east here as well, and they're warming quite nicely just about everybody else. So not a bad looking thing outside right now. Lots of clear skies. Most of the nation is actually mostly clear, excepting for the west coast, portions of Canada, and offshore here, California, but everything else looks pretty good. 24-hour temperature change. Temperatures have warmed up quite substantially here across Canada, all the way down into the eastern United States. On the maps this morning, the only hazards that we have are some red flag warnings in all of the pinks here across the upper Midwest, Dakotas, portions of Wyoming here, and Montana as well, and freeze warnings here. This would be for freeze watch here in portions of Nevada and also interior central southeastern California, and maybe a little bit of flooding here in portions of those some of the rivers here in Florida. Outside of that, no other hazards today. Climate Prediction Center's data shows the EPO flipping, and the PDO and the PNA actually flipping around too. So the PNA is going to be negative rather than positive out on the west coast, so that's going to include some storm systems coming into the west and much below normal temperatures, where it was very warm and smoky and dangerous to be out there with the fires and some of the accidents with the fog and fire and smoke during the last couple of days. But that's all flipping around here from Sunday the 26th through the 30th of this month. And the other big flip is the warm temperatures in the east from, let's say, Ohio all the way down to Florida, and of course the northeast and the mid-Atlantic states here including as well. 8 to 14-day temperatures look about normal in the west, maybe pockets of some colder anomalies over Idaho and also into portions of Colorado here. Warmer than average temperatures across most of the nation west or east of the continental divide. 6 to 10 day precipitation totals. Well, we're going to have some kind of a storm merge here off the Jersey coast this weekend, so there could be some moderate rain, but this is included in the forecast where we're moving on the 26th to the 30th, so that's not going to show up in this particular diagram here, but it's going to be relatively wet, or so to speak, here in the eastern United States and definitely in the west with that new storm system and new change of air mass coming in, powerful jet structure, drier than normal in the desert southwest. Same continues here from the 28th through the 3rd of November. Warmer temperatures and wetter conditions in the east, not necessarily complete washouts, but definitely wetter. Dry most of the upper Midwest into the desert southwest, and wet on the peninsulas here on the west coast. Take a look briefly at the National Weather Service's digital database. High temperatures across the New Jersey-New York I-95 corridor. Here are forecast zones in the mid-60s today, which looks good, bumping it up to the upper 60s, even close to 70 in a few spots on Saturday. Little cooler, again into the 60s on Sunday with clouds and some rain showers coming in, probably heavier right along the coast. The same situation is going to be in effect on Monday. And then we really warm up as that exits and a ridge builds across the east. Tuesday, we've got temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s area-wide. And the same thing for next Wednesday and Thursday. So if you've really been chilly over the last couple of days, good news ahead for this weekend and early next week. New Jersey regional temperature anomalies about even today, starting to get about 5, 6, 7 degrees above normal tomorrow. About 1 or 2 degrees either side of normal as we get into Sunday. The further west you go, the warmer the air will be, the cooler the air will be right along New Jersey and the coastline because of the oncoming rain. Monday, the situation is that temperatures will be averaging about 4 or 5 degrees above average, and then really warming it up 10, 11, 12 degrees above average on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. And we're going to use the National Weather Service blend of models. If you're looking at snow cover here over the next 240 hours here, the next 10 days, basically, you see an influx here across Canada, Alberta, Saskatchewan, up into the upper Midwest, Colorado. We'll check these numbers out, and some of that snow spreading into central and southeastern Canada as well over the next 10 days. But with a warm up in the east, that means no snowfall here, but it means that places like Colorado could be picking up 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 20 inches of snow in spots. Again, the upper Midwest and portions of Canada, obviously, and Alberta here picking up 30, 40 inches of snow over the next 10 days or so. The other thing I think we want to look at is the total amount of precipitation, total QPF, and this is again from the National Blended model. So a lot of precipitation out west coming in your direction, and again across the east coast too. But mostly staying offshore, so most of the heaviest rain here, this will be in the form of rain across the east coast and the central and southern plains. Yeah, it's going to be raining, but over the next 10 days, we could have a couple of systems impacting the northeast especially, and this could bring some moderate to heavy precipitation into the coastlines of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut here, grazing the coast of New Jersey as a result of, this is total QPF, not by the hour. So, over the next 10 days, look for, a couple of systems out on the coastline here to obviously impact the area. There could be some amalgamation between jet structures where, you're going to get phasing in some of this. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. European model guidance here over the next 10 days off the last night's run. Well, high pressure is in control now, and here comes the system out into the west coast, and that's going to bring some snow into the mountains and some rain in the plateau regions here. We have an inverted trough here in the east as high pressure is now offshore and the wind's coming in from off the ocean early next week, and that's going to bring in some precipitation right along the coast, especially on Sunday night and Monday. Some of these pockets could be heavier right along the immediate coast into Long Island, New York City. And then we have this strong system here in the northern branch and another one here. And this is going to move to the north and east and drag a front across with another wave of low pressure on that front forming over the southern plains here. And off the east coast, we still have a northeast wind, or an east wind actually, as high pressure is offshore and more moisture coming in from off the ocean. The question is there going to be any kind of amalgamation here? If we went back to Sunday night and Monday, it definitely doesn't look like an amalgamation here of streams, but this one does. As we head into Wednesday and Thursday, there could be more moisture coming in off the ocean into New Jersey, the New York Harbor, Long Island, Connecticut, and then this wave here becoming occluded as it moves in towards the Great Lakes. And these two probably marry somewhere. Two streams marry offshore of the Cape here. So, excuse me, could be some heavier precipitation, especially out over the ocean, but then high pressure builds in once again for the later part of the month here as we head towards Halloween. And again, high pressure over the top of low pressure, that's the northeast flow, and basically keep the moisture out over the ocean. In the southern branch here, this system is not definitely will affect our area probably around Halloween or after Halloween, but the atmosphere will be too warm still to support any kind of snow. But what is interesting is all the snow from all of these systems building out west that will eventually make its way into the Colorado Rockies. Polar vortex is locked up and it is definitely developing here across the polar regions, the North Pole here, but it is elongated and weak and stretching. So this is a telltale sign of trouble coming in later November and December if this continues in that direction. Why? Because it's weak. It's stretched out, and that means that the United States of America under this flow, especially the east coast of the United States, could be in for a lot of precipitation events. Some of them will be mixed as well, depending on the setup with each particular storm. 500 millibar charts, west to east flow here across the country, and well, troughiness here in the eastern United States, so that's lifting out, and cutoff lows here off California, high pressure, and low pressure here. So, you know, this is a busy pattern with waves coming into the Pacific Northwest, a split flow pattern too. This is the polar jet, this is a subtropical jet here. And right now it's just a west to east flow across the country, but that could combine later, and there could be amalgamations of these streams, and that could mean for wetter weather in the eastern United States eventually. Well, everything is dying out in the air right now, thank God, but the leaves are coming down still. And if we took a look at the current, I don't know why this is showing up, close this. If we take a look at the current, it's on the low side yesterday and today. Ragweed again and leaf mold obviously are going to be your problems if you're suffering out there, along with some viruses that are going on too, upper respiratory viruses and nasal viruses, sinus viruses going out there right now. Colds, yeah, that's going on. So this is it. And then Sunday with the clouds and the rain, and then back up again on Tuesday. Well, I was tested. I don't have COVID, but still a lot of people do in the Northeast, and it's showing up still in central and southeastern New Jersey, but it's cut off a little bit here in Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania, but it's still spreading south across the northern areas here in the desert southwest and interior portions of the west coast as well. Cold and flu, on the other hand, that's a different story. The combination of the cold and the flu is spreading into the northeast, the mid-Atlantic coast states, the southeast, and especially down in the deep bayous here. It's been wet and, you know, and then chilly air too the last couple of days. Lots of coughing here with allergies across most of the country, basically, especially the southeast, the mid-Atlantic coast states, and New England. Strep throat is definitely, this is a concern because this is something that's expanding across the Midwest and the southeastern states and into the southeast, middle, southern and mid-Atlantic region as well. Fever is very high across the southeast, and the flu continues to spread from Texas into the southeast in these moderate pockets here. But again, when we check out cold and flu together and then check out the flu itself, this is more of a concern going into later this month and into November as we move in towards the southern and middle and northeast Atlantic regions. So your weather story here from the National Weather Service in Brookhaven, New York. Morning temperatures in the 30s and 40s along the coast, which has occurred. Afternoon temperatures again in the low to mid 60s. Sunny, rain-free conditions and stay that way in the afternoon. Southwest winds at about 5 to 10. The average high is about 63, and that's where we are going to be around today. The record was 84 back in 1920, nowhere touching that. Average low of 50, the record of 31 back in 1988. And of course, sunset tonight is at 6:08 p.m. Very interesting look on Doppler radar. This could be birds, actually, migrating south of some kind of nature here. This looks like birds that the radar is picking up here. We'll check that out. We use the NAM guidance here from 6Z as the new 12Z data is still coming in. And really nothing going on here until we get into Saturday night, Sunday. What are we looking at here? Oh, got the wrong panel up here. Let's look at this nicely now. Precipitation probably arrives in from off the ocean as we head into Sunday morning. Actually, we got the 6Z data here. Yeah, it's looking like it's holding off until Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and that's going to get into an offshore Long Island and the New Jersey coast. It could be broken to scattered as we get into Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. So looks like Sunday night and Monday morning are going to be the greatest threats for precipitation. We'll go back to the NAM model from 6Z this morning and extend that out. And as you can see, the rain coming in from off the ocean across Long Island, Providence, Barnstable, Bridgeport, Brentwood, Toms River. Moderate pockets of precipitation around the New York City metropolitan area on Monday morning, right around or just before sunrise, because sunrise is like 7-something in the morning now. So if you're living around New York City or Yonkers or Long Branch or Brentwood on Monday morning, I'd be cautious because there'll be some rain. That's going to spread up towards Bridgeport and Hartford and Worcester and Springfield, Mass, and then further north as you dry out on Monday morning. And again, taking us into Monday the 24th at 2 p.m. Here's the highest rainfall totals offshore here. Into Long Branch at about 1.5, maybe almost 2 inches. Into New York City about 1 inch. Higher amounts here across the North Shore and south-facing shores of Long Island, maybe about 1 or 2 inches of rain in spots here, and the totals of about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain in portions of interior Connecticut and Boston and Providence, as well as that. That basically moves to the north and east, and very little precipitation across northern New Jersey and central and southern New Jersey as well. Maybe 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch here as you head into Wilmington, Dover, and Vineland. But this is off the latest NAM model guidance at 6Z. I don't think the 12 guidance hasn't completed itself just yet. Nope, not really. Nope. Okay, one more thing. One more thing to look at this morning is the 6Z run of the GFS. This is going to be precipitable water value anomalies here. It's very dry right now across the eastern United States, most of the country too. And that dry sinking air making its way into Florida as the moisture impact coming in from off the ocean here early next week, Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. And of course, with that upper low being drawn under the negative EPO that we have in place here, the northern branch here getting into Canada. There will be some kind of an amalgamation here between the southern jet and another disturbance coming in from off the Atlantic. So these two disturbances here, they're going to meet somewhere. So there's going to be some kind of precipitation event here from New Jersey and off the coastal waters into southern New England. And eventually that gets out of here. And another system in the southern stream making its way up into the eastern United States as we head into the early part of November here on the 3rd. That area of low pressure moves off the coast with temperature anomalies dropping off and precipitation anomalies dropping off, and then dry air in place. And you can see again with the negative EPO that was in place, we have the northern branch here moving into Canada with trailing low pressure in the southern branch, bringing cold frontal moisture to the East Coast probably around the 5th or so, Saturday the 5th, according to the latest model guidance, and then drying out. So the flow is pretty fast here. There's not a lot of time for these systems to marry together, but there's going to be some wet periods here across the eastern United States and New England as we head into early November. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. You have a great weekend.